2 years after Ruth died, I finally understood what people meant when they said grief has no timeline. Some days I'd wake up and forget she was gone. I'd reach across the bed, expecting warmth, finding only cold sheets. Other days, the absence hit me before I even opened my eyes, a weight in my chest that made breathing feel like work. The grief counselor, a kind woman named Dr. Patricia Morrison, who'd treated Ruth during her final months, told me I needed a project. Something meaningful, she'd said. Something that honors her memory while giving you purpose. That's when I decided to fix up the beach house. The place had been in Ruth's family since 1962, when her grandparents built it with their own hands during the quieter days of the Outer Banks. Back then, the coast wasn't the tourist destination it is now. It was just sand, sea, and families who understood that some things, like the sound of waves at dawn, were worth more than money could measure. Over the decades, the house had suffered. Salt air is unforgiving. Neglect compounds the damage. By the time Ruth passed, the wraparound porch she loved sagged in places, the paint had peeled down to bare wood, and the electrical system dated back to the Carter administration. Ruth used to talk about retiring there. We'd sit in our Charlotte living room on winter evenings, and she'd pull out old photo albums. "Look at this porch, Garagos," she'd say, running her fingers over faded Polaroids. "Imagine watching the sunrise from there every morning, just you, me, and the ocean." We never got that chance. Cancer took her at 61, 3 months after diagnosis, fast and brutal, like a wave you never saw coming. So at 64, I made a decision. I took my pension from 33 years as an insurance adjuster, sold our paid-off house in Charlotte, and moved to the coast. If Ruth couldn't have her dream, I'd build it for her memory. I spent 6 months on renovations. Replaced every rotted board on that porch, matching the wood grain as close as I could to the original. Stripped and repainted the entire exterior in the same coastal blue Ruth's grandmother had chosen decades ago. Hired an electrician to update the wiring, but I did everything else myself. Every nail I drove felt like a conversation with her. Every room I restored brought her back a little. The kitchen where she'd baked blueberry pies with her mother, the bedroom where she'd spent childhood summers, the porch where she'd sat with her grandfather and learned the names of constellations. I wasn't trying to live in the past. I was trying to preserve something that mattered. There's a difference, though most people don't see it. My routine became simple. Wake before dawn, watch the sunrise from the porch with coffee, work on whatever the house needed, read in the evenings from Ruth's extensive book collection. She'd been a librarian for 40 years. Our Charlotte home had overflowed with novels, biographies, poetry. I'd moved her favorites to the beach house, filled the built-in shelves in the living room. It was a quiet life. Some might say isolated, but I was content. Then Madison called. "Dad, Tyler and I have been talking." My stepdaughter's voice had that bright, forced cheerfulness I recognized from years of parenthood. It meant she wanted something but was nervous about asking. I set down my coffee mug. Through the kitchen window, the morning light painted the water in shades of gold and amber. Ruth's favorite time of day. She used to call it liquid sunrise. "Talking about what, sweetheart?" "About the beach house. We think, well, we're concerned it's being wasted." I didn't respond immediately. Madison had been part of my life since she was 9 years old, after I married Ruth. Her biological father had left when she was 6, and Ruth had raised her alone until we met. I'd never tried to replace her father. You can't replace what was never really there. But we'd built something real over the years. Or so I'd thought. "Wasted how?" I asked carefully. "You're there all alone in a 4-bedroom house, Dad. It's a lot for one person." She paused. I could hear whispering in the background. Tyler probably coaching her. Tyler ran some numbers. We could make $6,000 a month renting it out during peak season, maybe more with the right marketing. $6,000 a month. I did the math automatically, an old habit from insurance work. $72,000 a year, assuming year-round rental, but the Outer Banks was seasonal. Figure 3 months at peak rates, maybe 6 months total occupancy. "Madison, I live here. I know, but hear me out." Her words came faster now, like she'd rehearsed this. "We'd handle everything. Tyler's already researching property management companies. They do all the work, cleaning, maintenance, guest communication. You wouldn't have to do anything. Except leave my home. Well, not permanently. We'd split the income. You'd get 40% since you did all the renovations. That's fair, right? Tyler worked it all out." Of course Tyler did. My son-in-law, the MBA from Duke University, always working angles. He'd been in real estate investment for 5 years, though I'd never quite understood what his company actually did. Madison had been vague when I'd asked. "Just think about it, okay?" Madison continued. "We'll come down this weekend to discuss the details. Tyler's really excited about this opportunity." She hung up before I could respond. I sat there holding my phone, watching the waves roll in. Madison had grown up spending summers in this house, just like Ruth had. She'd learned to swim off this beach, collected shells with her grandmother, helped her grandfather repair the porch railing when she was 12. This was her family history too. But something felt wrong. Maybe it was the way she'd said Tyler's really excited instead of we're excited. Maybe it was the practiced quality of her pitch. Or maybe I was just a grieving old man who didn't want to let go of the last piece of Ruth I had left. That weekend they arrived right on schedule. Tyler stepped out of their BMW carrying a leather portfolio that probably cost more than my first car. Madison followed with a bright smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Dad!" She hugged me on the porch. She smelled like expensive perfume, nothing like the coconut sunscreen scent I remembered from her teenage years. "The house looks amazing. You've done so much work." "It needed it," I said, hugging her back. "Come on in. I made coffee." We settled around the kitchen table, the same table where Ruth and I used to play gin rummy on rainy afternoons, where Madison had done homework during summer visits, where 3 generations had shared meals and stories. Tyler wasted no time. He spread papers across the polished wood surface with the confidence of someone accustomed to presentations. Spreadsheets, market analyses, revenue projections, all printed in color with charts and graphs. See, with dynamic pricing during summer months, we're looking at potential gross revenue of $75,000 annually. Tyler tapped the numbers with an expensive pen, smiling like he'd just solved world hunger. "Even after management fees and maintenance costs, you're clearing 25, maybe 30,000. That's not nothing for someone on a fixed income." I studied the spreadsheets. They were thorough, I'd give him that. He'd researched comparable properties, analyzed occupancy rates, even factored in off-season pricing strategies. "The house isn't for rent," I said quietly. Madison reached across and took my hand. Her skin felt soft, manicured. "Dad, I know this place means everything to you. It meant everything to Mom, too. But she'd want it to be useful, not just sitting here while you—" She caught herself, adjusted her phrasing. "While you live here alone." "I'm not just sitting here. I've spent 6 months restoring it." "And you've done an incredible job," Tyler interjected smoothly, "which is exactly why it has such strong rental potential. You've increased the value significantly. But realistically, how long can you maintain a place this size? You're what, 64? 65? 64. Right. So in 10 years, you'll be pushing 75. Are you going to be climbing ladders to clean gutters, replacing storm shutters, dealing with plumbing emergencies?" He leaned back, hands spread in a reasonable gesture. "Why not start generating income now while you're still young enough to enjoy it?" I pulled my hand away from Madison's. "I'm not renting Ruth's family home to strangers." Tyler's smile tightened. "With respect, Garagos, it's Madison's family home too. Her grandparents built it. She has childhood memories here. Don't you think she should have a say in what happens to it?" "Of course she should." "Then let's be practical," Tyler interrupted. "We're not talking about selling it. We're talking about making it work for the family. You benefit, we benefit, and we preserve the property for the future. For Connor and Emma." Madison and Tyler's kids. 8-year-old Connor with Ruth's dark eyes. 6-year-old Emma who laughed like Madison used to. My grandchildren, though not by blood. They'd visited the beach house twice, running wild on the sand, leaving sticky handprints on the windows that I'd later cleaned with a smile. "For the future," Tyler said again, "because let's face it, you won't be here forever. When you're gone, Madison inherits. But if the house has been generating income, she'll have a sustainable asset instead of just a building that needs constant expensive maintenance." When you're gone. Like I was already halfway to the grave. They stayed for 3 hours. Tyler showed me websites for vacation rental platforms, testimonials from property owners, even photos of similar houses generating the exact income he'd projected. Madison nodded along, occasionally adding comments about how this could help secure Connor and Emma's college funds. I listened, asked a few questions, examined the numbers, which were admittedly compelling. But I didn't argue. I didn't refuse. I just said I'd think about it. After they left, I sat on the porch as the sun went down, painting the sky in those liquid gold shades Ruth had loved. I could almost hear her voice in the wind, the way I sometimes did in quiet moments. "Be careful, Tom," she'd say. She always called me Tom when she was worried. "Something's not right here." The next Tuesday, Tyler called me directly. "Garagos, hey, listen, I've been putting out feelers with some property management companies." His voice had that casual confidence of someone who assumed agreement. "There's one in Nag's Head that specializes in high-end rentals. They want to do a walkthrough this Thursday. That work for you?" "Tyler, I haven't agreed to anything." I know. This is just exploratory, no commitment, but we should at least see what they say, right? Knowledge is power and all that." He paused. "Thing is, I already told them we're interested. Canceling now would look unprofessional." I'd spent 33 years in insurance, reading between the lines of what people said versus what they meant. Tyler had just told me he'd made commitments in my name without permission, testing boundaries, seeing how much he could push. I should have said no. Practiced saying it in the mirror that night, in fact. A simple, firm no. But when Thursday came and the property manager knocked on my door, I let her in. Her name was Jennifer somebody, mid-30s, professional outfit, bright smile. She walked through the house taking measurements and photographs, commenting on the excellent bones and premium beachfront location. Tyler accompanied her, asking questions about booking platforms and guest turnover rates, nodding along like he already owned the place. After Jennifer left, Tyler stayed behind. "Can I be straight with you, Garagos?" I nodded, settling into the armchair Ruth used to read in. "Madison's worried about you. We both are." He sat on the couch, leaning forward with practiced sincerity. "You've been isolated down here for 2 years. You barely talk to anyone. You're living in the past, man. Ruth wouldn't want that." "You didn't really know Ruth. I was married to her daughter for 7 years. I was at your wedding, remember?" He smiled. "Look, I get it. Grief is hard, but you're using this house as a crutch. You're hiding from life." "I'm not hiding. I'm living." "Are you, though?" Tyler stood, walked to the window overlooking the beach. "When's the last time you went anywhere? Did anything besides work on this house? You're just existing in this shrine to your dead wife." The words stung like a slap. I felt my hands clench on the armrests, but I kept my voice level. "I think you should go. I'm trying to help you see clearly. This rental income could give you freedom. You could travel, meet people, actually live your life instead of haunting this place." "Get out." Tyler raised his hands in mock surrender. Okay, I'm sorry. That came out wrong. I just care about you, Garagos. We both do." After he left, I sat in that armchair for a long time, watching the afternoon light fade. Part of me wondered if he was right. Was I hiding? Using the house as a way to avoid moving forward? Then I noticed something on the coffee table. Tyler's portfolio. He'd left it behind. I told myself not to look. It was probably intentional, a sales tactic. Leave the materials so the target could review them alone, build desire. But something made me open it anyway. On top of the spreadsheets and market analyses was a business card, slightly bent like it had been in someone's pocket. Heavy cardstock, embossed lettering, Jessica Campbell, CP. A Asset Protection and Estate Planning. Charlotte, NC. Flipped over, handwritten in blue ink. Tyler, LLC docs ready for signature. Move fast before the old man changes title. I read it 3 times. The old man, move fast. Before I could change title, implying they expected me to but wanted to act first. I pulled out my phone and searched Jessica Campbell CPA, Charlotte. Her website loaded, professional headshot, credentials, list of services. Specializing in asset protection strategies for high net worth families. Testimonials from satisfied clients who'd preserved generational wealth. Nothing overtly wrong. But combined with that handwritten note, this wasn't just Tyler getting excited about rental income. This was something planned, coordinated, involving a professional accountant I'd never heard of. I sat there as the sun set completely, the business card in my hand, understanding with sudden clarity that I wasn't paranoid. I was in trouble. I didn't call a lawyer, not yet. Instead, I called David Thompson, an old friend from my insurance days. David had worked as a private investigator for 20 years before retiring to Raleigh at 68. We'd collaborated on fraud cases back when I was still adjusting claims. He'd find the evidence, I'd build the case. He owed me a favor from 2019 when I'd testified as an expert witness in his favor during a messy lawsuit. "Garagos Mark," he answered on the second ring, voice gravelly from decades of cigarettes he'd finally quit. "Haven't heard from you since Ruth's funeral. How are you holding up?" "I've been better, David. I need help." I explained everything. The rental proposal, Tyler's pushiness, the business card with its damning note. David listened without interrupting, one of his best qualities as an investigator. "Email me everything you've got," he said when I finished. "Photos of that business card, Tyler's full name, the property management company he contacted. I'll dig around, see what turns up." "Quietly, David. I don't want them knowing I'm looking." "Kid, I've been doing this since before your son-in-law was born. Quiet is all I know." A week later, David called back. "You sitting down?" he asked. I was on the porch watching Connor and Emma's sandcastle from their last visit slowly erode in the tide. "Should I be?" "Tyler's got a history. He runs a company called Coastal Properties Holdings, owns 3 vacation rentals along the coast. But here's the interesting part. 2 of those properties are currently subject to lawsuits." My stomach tightened. "What kind of lawsuits?" "Breach of contract, both filed by elderly property owners. The pattern's almost identical. Tyler convinces them to sign management agreements promising hands-off income. Then he gradually takes over financial control, locks them out of decisions, and eventually pushes them toward selling at below-market rates to companies he's affiliated with." Jesus. "Gets better. Jessica Campbell, your CPA friend, she's been reprimanded twice by the North Carolina State Board of CPA examiners for failure to maintain professional standards in client relationships. I pulled the complaints. Both involved elderly clients who claimed she helped family members gain unauthorized access to their assets." I watched the waves, feeling sick. This is what they do. Looks like it. "And Garagos?" David's voice softened. "I checked Madison's name. She's not listed on any of Tyler's LLCs or business entities, but she has joint access to their personal accounts. Could be she's a victim here too, or could be she's smart enough to keep her hands clean. Hard to say." That was the question that kept me awake that night. Madison had seemed genuinely concerned during their visit, but she'd also delivered Tyler's pitch word for word, like she'd memorized a script. Was she manipulated or complicit? I wanted to believe the best. She was Ruth's daughter, the little girl who'd cried in my arms when her goldfish died, who'd asked me to walk her down the aisle at her wedding because "you're my real dad even if biology says different." But Tyler had 7 years to shape her thinking. 7 years to convince her that his schemes were legitimate business strategies. 7 years to make her dependent on income that came from exactly this kind of exploitation. I needed to know which side she was on. But I couldn't ask directly, not yet. Tyler called the following Monday. "Garagos, we need to talk." No pleasantries this time, no friendly warmth. "The property manager needs an answer this week. Summer's coming fast. We're losing the booking window." "I'm still thinking about it." "Thinking?" His voice sharpened. "It's been 2 weeks. How much thinking do you need for a straightforward business decision? Madison's really upset that you're not cooperating on this." There it was, using Madison as leverage, making me the bad guy who was disappointing his daughter. Maybe I could talk to Madison directly. She's the one who asked me to call. She's too emotional about it. "Look, we're coming down Saturday, and we're bringing someone who can explain the benefits better than I can." They arrived at 11 a.m., Tyler, Madison, and a third person, a man in his 50s wearing an expensive suit despite the beach setting. "Garagos, this is Blake Patterson," Tyler said, ushering everyone into the living room like he owned the place. "He's an elder law attorney. We thought you might feel more comfortable hearing from a professional." Blake had silver hair, warm handshake, the kind of trustworthy face you'd see in pharmaceutical commercials. He settled into Ruth's reading chair without asking, pulled out a tablet. "Mr. Mark, it's a pleasure. First, I want to say, this house is magnificent. You've done beautiful work preserving it." "Thank you." "Tyler and Madison have briefed me on their proposal, and I think it has real merit. But more importantly, I wanted to offer you something." He smiled. "A free estate planning consultation. No obligation, no pressure. just information. I appreciate that, but here's the thing. Blake leaned forward, earnest. At your age, you need to think about asset protection. If you were to need nursing home care, and I'm not saying you will, but statistically, Medicaid has a 5-year look-back period. They could put a lien on this house to pay for your care. Your daughter would inherit nothing. Madison, sitting on the couch, looked genuinely distressed. Dad, I didn't know that could happen. It happens all the time, Blake continued smoothly, but there are legal strategies to protect assets. One option is transferring the property into a family LLC. You'd be a member, Madison and Tyler would be managing members. The house is protected from Medicaid claims. You still live here. And as a bonus, the LLC structure provides tax benefits and simplifies estate transfer. He turned the tablet to show me a diagram. It looked professional, official, the kind of thing that would convince most people. The paperwork's straightforward, Blake added. I can have it drafted by Wednesday. You'd sign as the transferring owner, Madison and Tyler sign as the receiving members. Then you sign the LLC operating agreement, and you're protected. I studied the diagram. And who makes decisions about the property? Maintenance, repairs, whether to sell? The managing members handle day-to-day operations, but major decisions require unanimous consent. You'd have full veto power. Could I see that in writing? The part about my veto power? Blake's smile never wavered. Of course. Like I said, I'll draft everything properly. Tyler jumped in. This isn't just about the house, Garagos. It's about protecting Madison's inheritance, protecting Connor and Emma's future. I understand. I stood, walked to the window. A family was flying a kite on the beach. Father, mother, young daughter. The kite dipped and soared, bright red against blue sky. Can I think about it? Maybe consult my own attorney? Absolutely, Blake said. Though I should mention, elder law is highly specialized. Many general practice attorneys don't understand the nuances. I'd be happy to speak with your counsel if that would help. Tyler added, consultations usually cost $500 an hour. Blake's offering this free because Madison's family. That's not something you want to pass up. After they left, Madison lingered by her car. Tyler and Blake were on the phone 20 yards away, backs turned. She walked back to where I stood on the porch. Dad? Her voice was small, uncertain. Can we talk? Just us? Of course, sweetheart. She glanced at Tyler, then stepped closer, speaking quietly. I need to tell you something, and I need you to not hate me. My chest tightened. I could never hate you, Madison. Her eyes filled with tears. We're in trouble. Financial trouble. Tyler's business. It's not doing well. We're in debt. A lot of debt. How much? $200,000. The words came out in a rush. Credit cards, business loans, a line of credit Tyler took against our house. I didn't know how bad it was until last month. He kept saying everything was fine, that his investments would pay off, but they didn't. We're drowning. I reached out, took her hand. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Because I was ashamed. And because Tyler said this beach house could save us. That the rental income would let us pay down the debt, get back on our feet. He made it sound reasonable, like we were helping each other. She wiped her eyes. But the way he's been acting, the way he pushed Blake on you, I don't know anymore. This doesn't feel right. Madison, look at me. I waited until she met my eyes. We'll find another way. I'll help you if I can. But not with this house. This is Ruth's legacy, and I can't. I know. She nodded, still crying. I know, and Mom would never forgive me for even asking. I'm scared, Dad. Tyler's desperate. When he gets desperate, he does stupid things. What kind of stupid things? She opened her mouth, then closed it. Tyler was walking back toward us. We should go, she said quickly. I'll call you later, I promise. But she didn't call. Not that night, not the next day. I drove to Nag's Head on Tuesday morning, to a law office overlooking the Sound. Robert Henderson had been Ruth's friend from the library board. They'd worked together on literacy programs for years. He was 58, partner in a small firm specializing in estate law. Garagos. He shook my hand, gestured to a chair. I was sorry to miss Ruth's service. I was in Boston with my daughter that week. She would have understood. Ruth always said family comes first. She did indeed. He settled behind his desk. Now, You said on the phone this was urgent? I told him everything. The rental proposal, Tyler's history, Jessica Campbell, Blake Patterson's LLC pitch, Madison's confession about their debt. Robert listened, taking notes on a yellow legal pad. When I finished, he set down his pen. This is textbook elder financial abuse, he said quietly. Everything Tyler's doing, the pressure tactics, bringing in the attorney, using Madison's emotional connection, it's a calculated strategy to separate you from this asset. Can he actually do it, legally? If you sign those LLC documents, absolutely. Once you transfer the deed into an LLC with Tyler and Madison as managing members, they control everything. They could mortgage the property, sell it, or push you out entirely. Your veto power that Blake promised, that'll disappear in the fine print of the operating agreement. I guarantee it. My hands felt cold. What do I do? Robert pulled out a fresh legal pad. We create an irrevocable trust. You transfer the beach house into the trust, name beneficiaries. I'd suggest Connor and Emma, Madison's children, and appoint yourself as trustee for life. What does that accomplish? Everything. As trustee, you have full right to live in the property and maintain it, but you no longer own it. The trust does. Tyler can't convince you to transfer it because it's not yours to transfer. Madison can't inherit it because the beneficiaries are already established. And if they try to challenge it, there's nothing to challenge. The trust is irrevocable. Can we add protections for the boys? Make sure Tyler doesn't get his hands on it even after I'm gone? Robert nodded. We'll include provisions that Connor and Emma can't sell or mortgage the property until they're 30, and we'll add a no contest clause. If anyone challenges the trust, they forfeit their entire interest. Madison contests it, her sons lose their inheritance. That'll keep her in line. How long does this take? With the urgency involved, I can have documents drafted by Thursday. We'll need to record the deed with the county, which adds a day or two. Call it a week total. Tyler wants an answer this week. Then you stall him. Robert's eyes were steady. Tell him you're consulting an attorney. Tell him you need time. Tell him whatever keeps him from pushing papers in front of you before we get this done. Once that trust is recorded, Garagos, you're protected. Completely and permanently. We spent the next 2 hours going over details, beneficiaries, trustees, contingencies. Robert explained every clause, every protection. By the time I left, I understood exactly what we were creating. A legal fortress Tyler couldn't breach. I also understood what it meant. I was going to war with my daughter's husband, possibly with my daughter herself, depending on which side she chose. That night, I called Madison. It went to voicemail. Honey, it's Dad. I wanted to check on you after what you told me Saturday. I meant what I said. We'll figure this out. Call me when you can. I love you. She didn't call back. Wednesday afternoon, Tyler called. No preamble. Blake needs to meet Friday at 2 o'clock. He has the paperwork ready. Tyler, I told you I wanted to consult my own attorney. And have you? Because time's running out, Garagos. We have a booking request for Memorial Day weekend. $8,000 for 4 days. But we can't accept it without the LLC in place. That's money walking away because you can't make a decision. $8,000. He was escalating, adding financial pressure. I need more time. For what? This is a gift we're offering. Asset protection, rental income, securing Madison's future. What exactly do you need to think about? I closed my eyes, pictured Robert's steady gaze. Stall him. Fine, Friday at 2, but I'm bringing questions. Bring whatever you want. Blake can answer anything. Tyler's voice held satisfaction. You're making the right choice. After he hung up, I called Robert. He wants to meet Friday with papers ready to sign. Can we beat that? Papers are at the printer now. I'll have them tomorrow. We can sign Thursday morning, file with the county by noon. You'll be protected 24 hours before Tyler even walks in your door. Thursday morning, I sat in Robert's office and signed my name 17 times. Transfer deed, trust agreement, trust. Beneficiary designations. Each signature felt like placing another brick in the wall between Tyler and Ruth's legacy. Connor and Emma Mark are now the legal beneficiaries of the Ruth Henderson Mark Family Trust, Robert said, notarizing the final document. You're the trustee with full powers during your lifetime. Upon your death, the property transfers to the boys in equal shares, with restrictions on sale until they reach age 30. And the no contest clause? Anyone who challenges this trust forfeits their entire interest. Madison fights it, Connor and Emma lose everything. She won't risk that. Robert's paralegal drove the documents to the county recorder's office. By 3 p.m., everything was filed in public record. I owned nothing. The trust owned the beach house, and Tyler's entire scheme had just become worthless. That evening, David called with one more piece of information. I kept digging on Jessica Campbell. Found something interesting in her corporate filings. What? She filed LLC paperwork last week. Company name, Mark Family Holdings. Registered agent is Tyler. Listed members are Tyler at 51% and Madison at 49%. My blood went cold. My name isn't on it? Nowhere. They created an LLC without you, probably planning to claim you verbally agreed or forge your signature on transfer documents. Classic scheme. They own the LLC, present you with papers saying you're just formalizing what was already discussed, and by the time you realize what you signed, they control everything. They were going to forge my signature? Or claim you were incompetent and didn't understand what you signed. Either way, the goal's the same: separate you from the property. I thought about Blake Patterson's warm smile, his talk of asset protection and estate planning, about Madison's tears and her confession about debt, about Tyler's increasing pressure. This wasn't desperation. It was a coordinated plan involving multiple people, legal documents, and backup strategies. They weren't just trying to rent the house, they were trying to steal it. Friday at 2 o'clock, Tyler's BMW pulled into my driveway. It was time to end this. Tyler stepped out of the BMW carrying his leather portfolio. Madison followed, looking pale and anxious. Blake Patterson emerged from the back seat, briefcase in hand, looking every bit the professional attorney. I watched them approach from the porch, coffee in hand. The ocean breeze carried the smell of salt and seaweed. Ruth used to say that smell meant storms were coming. Garagos. Tyler's smile was tight, controlled. Ready to get this done? Come in. They settled around the kitchen table. Blake spread documents across the surface. I counted at least 20 pages, all official looking with tiny print and signature lines flagged with yellow tabs. I've prepared everything we discussed, Blake began, his voice warm and reassuring. The LLC operating agreement, the deed transfer, and as a precaution, a limited power of attorney that allows Madison and Tyler to handle property-related decisions if you're ever temporarily unable to do so. Temporarily unable? I asked. Medical emergency, extended travel, anything like that. It's standard in these arrangements, purely protective. I picked up the power of attorney document, scanned it. The language was deliberately vague. Diminished capacity, in the best interests of the principal, as determined by the managing members. Nothing about temporary. Everything about permanent control. Before we start signing, I said, setting down the document, I have some questions for Blake. Tyler shifted impatiently, but Blake nodded. Of course, that's why I'm here. This LLC. Tell me about the member structure. Who makes what decisions? As I mentioned before, Tyler and Madison would be managing members. They handle day-to-day operations, approve expenses under $10,000, communicate with property managers. You'd be a limited member with veto power over major decisions, sales, refinancing, structural changes. And that veto power is in writing where exactly? Blake flipped through the documents, pointed to a section. Article 7, subsection 3. I read it carefully. The language said, majority consent of managing members required for major decisions. Nothing about my veto power, nothing about my consent being necessary at all. This doesn't say what you just told me. Blake's smile never wavered. It's implied through your membership interest. You'd hold 40%, which means nothing if the managing members hold authority independent of percentage ownership. This document gives Tyler and Madison complete control. Tyler leaned forward. Garagos, you're overthinking this. We're family. We're not going to do anything against your interests. Really? I pulled out my phone, opened the photo David had sent me. Then explain this. I turned the screen to show the LLC filing documents. Mark Family Holdings, created 8 days ago. Tyler 51%, Madison 49%. My name, nowhere. The silence was deafening. Blake recovered first. That's just a preliminary filing, a placeholder structure. We'd amend it once you sign the transfer deed. You're lying. I kept my voice calm, factual. This LLC was created and registered without my knowledge. You're asking me to transfer my house into a different LLC, which you control, while this other LLC already exists with similar purpose. Why would you need both? Tyler's mask cracked. It's complicated business structure, Garagos. You wouldn't understand. I worked 33 years in insurance, analyzing contracts and fraud schemes. I understand perfectly. I pulled out the folder David had prepared. I also understand that you're currently being sued by 2 elderly property owners for breach of contract. Both cases allege you convinced them to sign management agreements, then systematically pushed them out of their own properties. Madison's face went white. Tyler, what is he talking about? Frivolous lawsuits, Tyler snapped. Bitter people who don't understand business. Is that what you'll say about me when I sue you? I asked. That I'm a bitter old man who doesn't understand business? Blake stood abruptly. I don't appreciate these accusations, Mr. Mark. I'm an officer of the court. You're Tyler's college roommate from Duke. I pulled out the photo David had found. Younger Blake and Tyler in fraternity letters, arms around each other's shoulders, drunk grins. Sigma Chi, class of 2009. How much is he paying you to commit fraud? Blake's professional composure shattered. I don't have to listen to this. No, you don't. There's the door. He grabbed his briefcase, headed for the exit. Tyler, I'm done here. You said this would be simple. Blake, wait. But Blake was already gone, engine starting, gravel crunching as he sped away. Tyler turned on me, fury replacing the friendly facade. You just cost us a lawyer. You never had a lawyer. You had a co-conspirator. This is insane. Tyler's voice rose. We're trying to help you, and you're acting paranoid. Help me? I stood, walked to the window. The family with the kite was still there, teaching their daughter patience as the wind shifted. Let's be honest about what this is, Tyler. You're $300,000 in debt, Madison told me. Madison gasped. I told you that in confidence, and I'm using it now to save you from your husband's scheme. I turned to face them both. This isn't about helping me. This is about Tyler desperately needing money and seeing this house as his solution. Tyler's face reddened. You smug old bastard. You think you're so smart? You're a nobody who married into Madison's family. This house is her birthright, not yours. There it was, the truth beneath all the spreadsheets and smiles. Tyler, stop. Madison's voice was barely a whisper. No, I'm done playing nice with this ungrateful... He caught himself, but too late. Madison stood slowly. What were you going to say? Finish it. Nothing. I'm just frustrated that he won't see reason. You were going to call my father a name. Her voice grew stronger. After he just showed us proof that you've been lying to me. About the LLC, about Blake, about your business lawsuits I knew nothing about. Madison, those lawsuits are complicated. How much debt are we really in, Tyler? He didn't answer. How much? I told you, 200,000. And the rest? His jaw clenched. There is no rest. I pulled out another document from David's folder. Tyler's company, Coastal Properties Holdings, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection 2 months ago. Total liabilities, $470,000. Madison sat down hard, like her legs had given out. Tyler pointed at me, hand shaking. You had no right to investigate me. I had every right to protect myself from someone trying to steal my home. We're not done here. Tyler grabbed his portfolio. Madison, we're leaving, now. But Madison didn't move. I said now, Madison. I heard you. She looked up at him with tears streaming. I also heard you call my father an ungrateful bastard. I heard you lie about Blake. I heard you hide $250,000 in debt from me. I was protecting you from stress. Get out. What? Get out of my father's house. I'll meet you at the hotel. Tyler stared at her, then at me. You'll regret this, both of you. I'll take everything in the divorce. Take it, Madison whispered. It's all debt anyway. He left without another word. I didn't sleep that night. Madison had stayed another hour, crying, apologizing, trying to understand how she'd missed the signs. I'd held her like I did when she was 9 and her bike had been stolen. Just present, just there. She'd left promising to call in the morning. Saturday at 10 a.m., Tyler's BMW pulled up again, alone this time. I watched him approach from the porch, coffee growing cold in my hand. He looked different, disheveled, unshaven, the polished veneer completely gone. "We need to talk," he said. "I don't think we do." 5 minutes, that's all I'm asking. Against my better judgment, I let him in. He didn't sit, just stood in the living room, arms crossed. "Let's cut through the bullshit, Garagos. You're not Madison's real father. You know it, I know it. You married Ruth for companionship when you were both lonely, middle-aged people. That's fine. But this house, this is Madison's birthright. Her grandparents built it. Her mother grew up in it. You have no real claim here. I was Ruth's husband for 12 years. I loved her. She loved me. That's claim enough." "Is it?" Tyler pulled documents from his jacket. "Because I have sworn statements from Madison saying you've been experiencing memory loss, confusion, difficulty managing daily tasks." My stomach dropped. Madison would never. She signed them 2 months ago when you first started acting erratic about the rental proposal. He set the papers on the coffee table. "I also have a medical evaluation from Dr. Patricia Morrison, Ruth's oncologist, expressing concerns about your ability to live independently." I picked up the supposed medical evaluation, read the letterhead. Dr. Morrison's practice, her signature at the bottom. But something was wrong. "This says it's dated March 15th of this year." "Correct." "Dr. Morrison retired 18 months ago. She moved to Arizona. I got a Christmas card from her in December, from Scottsdale." Tyler's expression didn't change. "Doesn't mean she can't provide professional opinions. It means this document is fake." I studied the signature. "I've seen Dr. Morrison's signature on Ruth's medical records dozens of times. This isn't even close." His mask slipped for just a moment, a flash of panic. "You forged this," I continued. "And I'm guessing Madison never signed those statements either. You forged her name too." "You can't prove that." "Actually, David already sent copies to Dr. Morrison. She's filing a police report Monday for identity theft and fraudulent use of her medical credentials." I set down the fake evaluation. "And Madison's handwriting is distinctive. Any forensic analysis would prove those aren't her signatures." Tyler's composure cracked completely. "You stupid old man. Don't you understand? Madison and I deserve this house. We have $300,000 in debt, $470,000. Fine, $500,000. Credit cards, business loans, the line of credit against our house." His voice rose to a shout. "This beach house is worth $1.2 million. It's our only way out." "So you are going to steal it?" "Not steal, claim what's rightfully Madison's. She's too weak to stand up to you, but I'm not." He stepped closer, aggressive. "You're going to sign that deed transfer, today, or I'll make your life hell. I'll contest Ruth's will. I'll drag you through court for years. By the time it's over, legal fees will eat the entire value anyway, and you'll have nothing." I held my ground. "Are you threatening me, Tyler?" "I'm promising you. Sign over the house or lose everything fighting me." For a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. He was desperate, drowning, grasping at anything to stay afloat. But that didn't make what he was trying to do any less criminal. "I can't sign over the house, Tyler." "Yes, you can. Stop being stubborn." "No, I mean, I literally can't. The house isn't mine anymore." He froze. "What?" "Thursday morning, I transferred the beach house into an irrevocable trust. Connor and Emma are the beneficiaries. I'm the trustee for life, with full right to live here and maintain it, but I don't own it. The trust does." Tyler's face went through several expressions: confusion, disbelief, rage. "You're lying." I pulled out my phone, showed him the county records. "Trust deed, recorded Thursday at 12:47 p.m. public record." "You can't sue me for the house because I don't own it. You can't manipulate Madison because she doesn't inherit it. Your LLC scheme, your forged documents, your fake medical evaluations, all of it is worthless." He tried to grab my phone. I stepped back. "Tyler, it's over. Leave before you make this worse." Madison appeared in the doorway. Neither of us had heard her car. "How long have you been there?" Tyler demanded. "Long enough?" Her voice was steady despite the tears on her face. "You forged signatures. You threatened my father. You admitted everything." "Madison, I can explain." "Stop." She held up her hand. "Just stop, Tyler. I heard you say we deserve this house. I heard you call Dad stupid. I heard you admit to fraud. I was desperate. You don't understand the pressure. I understand you were going to destroy my father to save yourself." She walked to me, took my hand. Dad, I'm sorry. For all of it. For believing Tyler. For pushing you. For not seeing what he was. You were manipulated, sweetheart. That's what he does. Tyler made one last attempt. Madison, everything I did was for us. For our family. Connor and Emma need stability. Connor and Emma need integrity, Madison said firmly. They need to know their family doesn't steal from each other, that their mother chose right over easy. She turned to him. I'm filing for divorce. I'm using Robert Henderson as my attorney. Dad already gave me his number. You can't afford a divorce. We're broke. Then I'll be broke and honest instead of broke and criminal. She squeezed my hand. Dad's offering to help me and the kids get back on our feet, the right way. Tyler stared at us both, jaw working. Then he grabbed his keys. You'll regret this, both of you. I'll take everything in the divorce. Take it, Madison said again. I don't want anything you've touched. He left without another word, tires squealing as he peeled out of the driveway. Madison collapsed into my arms, sobbing. I'm so sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. You did the right thing. Ruth would be proud of you. I almost let him steal her house. But you didn't. And now Connor and Emma will inherit it, just like she would have wanted. We sat on the porch for an hour, talking about everything. Madison explained how Tyler had hidden the debt, how he'd isolated her from friends who questioned his business practices, how he'd convinced her that everyone else just didn't understand his vision. Classic financial abuser, I said. David told me Tyler has a pattern. You're not the first person he's manipulated. But I should have known. I should have seen. He had 7 years to perfect his control over you. Don't blame yourself for being trusting. Blame him for being a predator. As the sun set, painting the sky in Ruth's beloved liquid gold shades, Madison asked, What happens now? Now you go home, file for divorce, and start rebuilding. Robert will help with the legal side. I'll help with everything else. And the beach house? Belongs to your boys. When they're 30, they'll own it equally. Until then, I maintain it. And you're welcome here any time. You and Connor and Emma. This is still your family home, Madison. It always will be. She hugged me tight. He hugged me. Thank you for protecting us, even from me. Especially from you. That's what fathers do. 3 months later, I stood on the porch watching Connor and Emma chase waves. Madison sat beside me, looking healthier than she had in years. The stress lines around her eyes had softened, and she smiled more easily. They love it here, she said. Your mother used to run into the waves exactly like that. Ruth would chase her, pretending to be scared of getting wet, and they'd both end up soaked and laughing. I remember. Madison sipped her iced tea. Tyler's attorney called yesterday. He's agreeing to everything. No-fault divorce. I keep custody. He takes the debt. Smart. David's fraud investigation probably helped motivate that decision. They charged him? Tyler and Jessica Campbell both. Fraud, identity theft, elder abuse conspiracy. Blake's been disbarred pending his own investigation. I watched Emma find a perfect sand dollar, hold it up triumphantly. Justice moves slowly, but it moves. I'm starting the new job Monday, Madison said. Medical billing at the hospital. It's not glamorous, but it's honest work. Your mother was a librarian for 40 years. She never cared about glamour. She cared about purpose. I wish she was here. She is. I gestured at the beach, the house, the children. This is all her. The legacy she built, the love she gave, the values she taught. Tyler tried to turn it into money, but it was never about money. Madison leaned her head on my shoulder. What was it about? Family, memory, belonging. I put my arm around her. Things you can't buy or sell or steal, things you only get by being present, being honest, being worthy of them. Connor ran up, sandy and grinning. Grandpa, can we stay for dinner? You can stay all weekend if your mom says yes. Yes! He pumped his fist, ran back to tell Emma. That night, after the kids were asleep in the room Ruth used to sleep in as a child, Madison and I sat on the porch. The stars were brilliant, undimmed by city lights. Thank you, she said quietly, for fighting for this, for not giving up on me. I'll never give up on you. You're my daughter, Madison. Blood doesn't make family, love does. Ruth taught me that. The waves rolled in, eternal and patient. The house stood solid behind us, its lights warm against the darkness. Inside were rooms filled with Ruth's presence, walls that held her laughter, floors that remembered her footsteps. Tyler had wanted to turn it into a transaction. He'd seen numbers where there should have been meaning. But meaning isn't something you can calculate or project or optimize. It's something you protect, even when others can't see its value. It's something you fight for quietly, strategically, with patience and planning, instead of anger and confrontation. Ruth had taught me that in 12 years of small kindnesses and quiet strength. She'd taught me that the most important battles aren't won with noise, but with certainty about what matters. The beach house mattered, Madison mattered, Connor and Emma's future mattered, and now, because I'd protected those things the way Ruth would have wanted, they were safe. I raised my glass toward the ocean, toward Ruth, toward everything we'd built together. "We did it," I whispered. "The legacy is safe." The wind carried my words away, but I like to think she heard them anyway. Somewhere out there, beyond the waves and the stars, she was smiling. The house would stand. The family would heal. The legacy would continue. And that was enough.